reminder to get on with you.
Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Garnet and Old. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. I'm Ryan, that's Vince, and we do have a special guest. Vince, how are you doing first?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, and I know Doug's doing great, but we do have to get to Doug right away. So the normal banter you might be hearing at the beginning of the show to let people get in the chat here isn't going to happen at the beginning. It's going to happen a little later because Doug's got other other responsibilities this evening, and so we want to respect his time. Welcome, Doug.
Tell the people where you are.
I'm in Charlotte. I'm in Mecklenburg County.
What could be possibly happening there?
There's a basketball game down the road, I think, maybe. No, there's
lacrosse.
We decided to make the road trip up from Atlanta, and we are going to make every effort to be inside the courtroom tomorrow, and I will be endeavoring to live tweet my observations and experience as we see the hearing unfold for the ACC versus FSU in Mecklenburg County Courthouse.
Yeah, so you've been talking about this, and you brought it up to me last week. And if you're not already following Doug on Twitter, he's gonna be tweeting all this out. So I mentioned to someone that was trying to find a stream for this, and I don't think there's going to be any stream for it. Doug is your stream, people. Doug is the stream, and you don't have to. There's no fee. There's no carriage fee. You can just follow along. I wasn't going to necessarily give all this away, but we're going to give it away a little bit right now, and that is, provided Doug can get in the courtroom tomorrow, which we think is probably going to happen. As soon as that is all set and done, we're going to have a live show after the proceedings tomorrow with Doug on his way home, actually. So
yeah, I'm figuring about 30 minutes after it's over, give me time to get out to my car, hop in the Benz and head on back to Atlanta. And then once I get through the Charlotte traffic, we'll hop on and have a little review of what we learned and what we heard and where we think this is going.
Absolutely. Well, Doug, being respectful of your time, tell the people, give everyone the latest. Where do we stand as of 7 o'clock Eastern time, the night before the big court case?
Well, of course, the most exciting news is that Clemson has joined us in this fight, but Clemson has a separate case, two separate cases, miraculously, just like ours. And the North Carolina case has been assigned not just to the business court, but has actually been assigned to the same judge. So the judge that's hearing the FSU case is going to also be hearing the Clemson case. So it will be very interesting to see tomorrow what his initial thoughts are. Now, we're not going to get an order, but what we're here for today or tomorrow morning at 9:30 is the judge hearing FSU's motion to stay or motion to dismiss. FSU has asked the court to dismiss this altogether. In the alternative, if they're not going to dismiss it altogether, to just pause the case so that the Florida case can proceed. And as I was mentioning before, once I dug into the Maryland case, which of course is the most closely analogous situation to our case here, there were holdings by the North Carolina court and then the Court of Appeals in North Carolina that Maryland needed to be in North Carolina for their case regarding the grant of rights. So I suspect it's probably about a 60% chance that the judge is going to move forward with the North Carolina case. I'd be pleasantly surprised. I'd put it at about 30% chance that this case does get a stay. And then there's, of course, the outlier 10% chance, Hail Mary, that something about this case is drastically different than the Maryland case in 2013, and the judge does grant a dismissal. One of the questions is going to be the issue of the vote Is the fact that the ACC didn't take a vote leading into this cause for them to dismiss? Is it a reason for them to treat the amended complaint as the subsequent filing, the subsequent valid filing? So those are the kind of things that the judge is going to be listening to tomorrow. We're not deciding whether or not the grant of rights is valid. We haven't done any discovery yet. All of those depositions and discovery will come later. Right now, we're just deciding, is there a case? And if there is a case, is it going to be in North Carolina?
So we've been talking about this for a while, right? And these same questions, believe it or not, these same questions we've been asking every show. These same questions. Tomorrow, we're going to get an answer finally to some questions. Well,
I wish we were getting an answer tomorrow.
No, an answer whether it's going to move forward or not. How about that?
No, I don't even think we're going to get an order from the court after the judge takes the time to consider both arguments, to do his own research. He's got his own law clerks that are going to research it. I hope Wednesday of next week, Tuesday.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Is when we get an actual order. We will have some.
I misspoke a little bit. Yeah.
We will have some insight in what the judge is thinking, what some of the questions are. Remember, tomorrow is just a chance for both sides to stand up and hit their high points, hit a few of the things that they think are most important, direct the judge's attention one way or the other towards what they think the strongest arguments are. And then the judge gets to ask some questions, maybe fill in some additional information. What we don't want, the worst case scenario, not the worst case scenario, but one of the bad options is if you want supplemental briefs, he can say, look, you guys, neither side really addressed this issue that's important to me. I want both of you to go home and do some additional homework, and by Monday or Tuesday submit a follow-up brief on issue X or issue Y. That would just further delay the order. We have an April 9th hearing in Florida. I think the judge wants to, at the latest, get his order out before the Florida judge has an opportunity to hear this. So I don't think we'll have to wait too long, even at the longest, but I would love to see something come out as early as Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
So one of the things that's going to, pique your interest, bring your radar up, are the specific questions the judge asks, right? Because that's going to give you a way to tune into the mind, the way they're thinking, correct?
That's where I'm going to be most interested in and focusing my attention on. Both sides are going to stand up and recite 10 or 15 minutes of their strongest arguments, what they think is important. It's not what the attorneys think it's important. It's what the judge thinks it's important. That's where this is going to turn.
Now, one of my questions was perfectly summed up by one of our viewers tonight. MN Seminoles writes, Doug, can the judge use information he hears in the FSU case and the Clemson case? Now I'm going to ask that, but also in reverse. The information that has now been posted by Clemson, suing the ACC, in this time in which the judge will consider a lot of different things, can he consider outside things like the Clemson filing, or should he stay narrowed in and focus on this lawsuit?
There's a technical answer and then there's a realistic answer. The technical answer is the judge should and will evaluate the evidence that's before him. And that's what's in the filing. That's what's in the arguments. But judges are human. And the judge knows that Clemson just filed. Clemson may have made some different arguments. It's up to the Florida lawyers to parse out the best arguments that apply to them that Clemson thought of that they didn't think of, which I don't think there's very much in there, and make those same arguments or add those same elements. But the judge is certainly going to be aware and knows that he's been assigned the Clemson case. He's going to know that that's going to impact this case. But on the four corners of the documents, the lawyers like to say, this judge will rule based on what's been filed in this case.
Interesting. And because it's the same person, it's kind of hard to divest yourself of the other stuff. It's not like your brain is compartmentalized. So that's going to be super interesting there. Doug, I know you're great at tweeting. Are you a sketch artist as well? I want to get a sketch of what's going on in the courtroom, and it shouldn't look any worse than the leprechaun guy. The leprechaun guy?
I think I can do better than the leprechaun guy. Not much better, but I will endeavor to take
sketch
a pencil.
Something.
Yeah, the leprechaun in Alabama. Tell us, Doug, who all, you can't know everyone, but aside from the lead attorney or whatever, but who will be in the room at the time of this hearing? Who do you
So
expect?
that's one of the curious things that I have, and in fact, I'll tease out what some of my tweets will be tomorrow. I plan on doing some homework tonight and scanning LinkedIn for some profiles and some biographical information. But I do plan to kind of treat tomorrow like a football game, and like we're getting the things ready. So at some point, I will announce a starting lineup. If I get a chance to see who's actually there. Look, all I'm going off is who's signing the pleadings and who's doing things. It's typical for high profile cases to be handled by the senior partner. I think we can make that presumption, but there will be other attorneys involved for both sides. So we'll have the judge. Both parties will probably have 3 or 4 attorneys in the room. We'll have a court reporter. We'll have a clerk. And then I suspect the gallery is probably going to be pretty full. That's my biggest concern. And I plan on getting down there plenty early to try to weasel my way into a place. If I happen to get near a outlet, that would make it even better. Yeah, that's judges are in charge of their courtrooms, and I don't practice in North Carolina, so there might be some rules like no electronic devices. That would certainly be a disappointment. Any disruption or anything that would be distracting will certainly be probably handled expeditiously.
So no war chant. You won't be doing the
So
war chant.
yeah, we're not wearing the war chant. I do have a FSU bow tie I will be sporting tomorrow, so I'll
Right.
show that off for everybody. But I'm a guest of the court. It is a constitutional right for courts to be open and for courts to be publicized. Somebody was asking about that live stream. If it's overfilled with people, maybe they've considered that. Maybe they've thought of it. Maybe they'll have an overflow room. I don't know. So part of this is let's go down there and figure it out.
Awesome.
Fake it till you make it. We'll see.
We want to be respectful of your time, Doug, and I know you got a lot going on. So Vince, again, remind the people who are just joining what the kind of ballpark plan is for tomorrow and what we're going to be doing for this big case.
So after chatting with Doug earlier today, we're kind of assuming that things can be wrapped up around lunchtime and that we're going to allow Doug to get to his car and get on the road and find some cell signal that's worthy of Garnet and Old. And then we will fire up the stream and we'll do a show and we'll allow Doug to just say, what happened? What were the things that maybe surprised him? What were things that were boring? We want to hear it all, because this is like front page news, and this is why people are tuning in a lot of the time. So and we'll do that for 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. Give us a chance and give Doug a chance to debrief.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll have some fun with it too. And we will.
Now,
and you're right. You mentioned there's no subscription for my Twitter. I do, would love for people to actually follow us. The only payment I'm looking for in this process is getting to know more Seminoles and more people nationwide. If you happen to have a problem in Georgia where you've been arrested or know somebody that's been hurt, obviously we love the publicity and we love the opportunity to help more people out. So be an active member of the sales team of Rohan Law. And if you know somebody that has a problem in Georgia, just ask that you direct them towards our office.
You can find Doug on X at Rohan Law PC. I think I have that right. Give him a follow. Check him out. He is the man when it comes to this situation with FSU versus ACC. Doug, thank you so much, man. We're going to continue the show, but we wish you the best of luck tonight. Go be with your get some family time if you can, and then we'll see you tomorrow, okay?
That sounds good. Y'all be good. Take care.
All right,
I'll
go Noles.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
All right, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
Doug is a busy man. He is. But hey, for those of you just joining as well, we are kind of breaking news tonight because Doug will become what we consider more than just a special guest, but more of a recurring character, like we see on like some of our favorite TV shows. So even on weeks where there isn't a court case, I think most weeks going forward on Thursdays at 7, you're going to see Doug join our show as a recurring guest. So really big news there. We love Doug, and we're going to be so happy to have him. And if you want more of this great law coverage, smash that like button. subscribe, because listen, Doug's the go-to person in the FSU fear. If you're an FSU fan, you want the inside info, he can provide you the inside info. Vince and I can't. And
Not
we
on
want to
that.
make sure. Yeah.
Not on that. That's for sure.
We got a lot more to get to today, Vince, Florida State related. But first, Vince has watched how many episodes of Lost now?
I think I'm 7 episodes into Lost. So you might want to catch some people up if they're like, why are we talking about Lost?
Yes. Big picture view, real quick before we get into more Florida State stuff. I challenged Vince after years and years and years of him saying he may look at it. I finally challenged him to take the plunge and give me at least 2 episodes. That was the ask. Vince said, okay, I'll give it at least 2 episodes. He is now 7 episodes in. So Vince, catch us up. How are you feeling about the show? Are you liking it or not liking it?
No, I'm definitely liking the show. And I'm liking the twists and turns that I get almost per episode.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have any theories that have held up yet. And I assume I will have even less or even more theories that don't hold up over the course of time. I do plan to watch some more this weekend, and I'm looking forward to that. But a guitar showing up, on the edge of a cliff doesn't really compute with me.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to figuring out what that's all about.
And the last thing I'll ask about Lost before we get into more Florida State talk, do you have a favorite character so far on the show? Someone who you really like?
I don't have a favorite yet.
Anyone who makes you smile more than the rest or makes you laugh?
Redneck guy.
Yeah, Sawyer.
Yeah, I don't know the names too well, but he's one with a quip. He's trying to be the alpha male guy, but he's the one that trying to see the reality of it all. I don't know. I guess he right now is the one that when he says something, it kind of makes me smile a little bit.
You know what else makes Vince smile? Tell the people, Vince. Evangelize.
Yeah, listen. We love doing this, and we have been doing it for a while. And we love the growth. We've been climbing, just like the team has been climbing. We've been climbing, and we're 150 away from 1,000 on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, that's great. Continue to do it. If you don't mind, also popping over to YouTube and liking the channel and subscribing to the channel, that would be great. That gets us, once we hit that 1,000 plateau, if you know about YouTube and streaming, there's some other stuff that we can take part in terms of keeping the lights on, as it were. So please do that and share it. And that's the other thing. I've had so many people tell me, hey, watch your show, love it. It's different than the other ones, right? You guys take a different tack on things. It's different than the other ones, and I really like that. I let my friends know about it because they think kind of the same way as me. So if you're sharing it out too, man, you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
No brethren standing together. And if you are from a rival fan base, we appreciate you watching too. You're going to catch some barbs from us every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's what this is all about, right? So please go like and subscribe.
And hey, 150 away. We were 120. We were 175 away last week.
Yeah,
so
it's happening fast.
Making progress. Real quick, Vince, before we get in the topics, just want to shout out some people who are in the choice. MN Seminoles, Kerry Go Noles, Kirk David Tony, Ed Lemmix, Douglas
Zickafoos. Yep.
Everyone, welcome to the Garnet and Old show. If you guys have any questions, concerns, we'll get to some baseball talk in a minute. I see a few of you posting about that. But
basketball
if you have other questions,
get some basketball talk.
What do we got first, Vince? Let's go.
Well, I think we should talk more about what's been happening in terms of the legal stuff, even though Doug has left the building. Elvis has left the building.
Yeah.
We still have some stuff that we want to talk about. And I had I happened to be up at the time that this particular item was posted on Inside Carolina. And this is the Board of Trustees chair basically saying what Florida State's been saying, for quite a while now, which is this ain't going too well.
It's not.
This is not going too well, and the conference is, paying more attention to the bottom feeders, the lower part of the conference. He called it bottom tier, which is awesome, by the way. It's really representing the bottom tier of the membership. And those aren't my words. So if you're from another fan base, I didn't say those words. The Board of Trustees chair with University of North Carolina said that. And we all know this. Florida State's been saying this. Clemson has been saying this. And then, this is kind of, as opposed to the athletic director, who right here says was more cautious in the interview.
Yeah.
We've got some cracks in the armor. We have a schism happening
In the most important piece of armor, by the way.
In the most important piece of armor. I know, Ryan, and you know that North Carolina is a whatever in terms of football, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they are, and I no problem saying this, they are the linchpin of this. If they were to come out and take a legal stance on this, this whole thing would be over.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we love Florida State.
If the second they join in, which some of these comments on this article we'll get into a little bit more, if they were to join in and file their own lawsuit against the ACC, at that point, all the ACC will be trying to do is settle with a school first, any of the three, probably North Carolina if possible, for a certain amount of money, and then apply that to the other other teams that want out. That is an immutable situation where they get some money out of it. The teams get to leave, in my opinion, in 2025. And they can then use that money to go get some other teams to fill out the roster of the carcass that will be left of the ACC. Now, they have not filed, North Carolina has not yet filed suit, but one of the comments that really, really struck me strong in this post was them stating that they are basically stating that the ACC has not been doing what's in the best interest of the member institutions, but instead what's best for maybe the top guys at the ACC conference itself, and that they do not agree with, nor did they vote to allow the ACC, based on their bylaws, which they're required to do, to allow the ACC to file suit preemptively against FSU. Both of these statements coming from Chapel Hill, right in ACC country. These are the guys that were on the bench a few years ago under the big oak tree with the commissioner of the ACC. They're always been the linchpin of the ACC. And when these people start saying these kind of statements, it's about done here. Don't you agree, Vince?
I do agree, because this is out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw what Miami said earlier today, I think it was, which is basically, we're very happy with the conference. The guy who is the AD of Miami was the AD at Clemson, but Dan Ratkovich, right? Dan Ratkovich, he's a Miami alum. So he went back home thinking everything was going to be great. And here's Miami publicly stating, because I think they have to, that they are still in bed with the ACC because, as I tweeted earlier today, they don't have a lifeboat yet.
Not yet. By the way, the teams that have assurances
are the ones that have a lawsuit.
That have a lawsuit. So Clemson and Florida State, as of now, are the only person that have, in my opinion, a behind-the-scenes handshake of a specific conference.
You get out of this and you have a home, is basically what they're saying. If you get out of this, you have a home.
Now, the situation in North Carolina could be, Vince, that they have potential 2 offers on the table and back channels, and that they aren't filing a lawsuit yet because they want to still, have a little back and forth between the 2 potential landing spots, and they are waiting until that happens to file a lawsuit. In the meantime, can put out statements like this, so it just increases the bidding war between them behind closed doors. The second North Carolina files, rest assured that they have a defined, specific, back channel agreed upon landing spot in a very specific conference. So this, to me, Vince, reads that they have a potential landing spot in the conference of their choice right now and have not yet made that decision.
Well, yeah, I think I think I agree with that. I think what it means specifically is that North Carolina knows they have a spot. They know they have a spot, and they have a spot. I would venture to say they have an equal opportunity in both conferences or in both Power Twos, in my opinion. I think the Big Ten would love to have them, and I know the SEC would love to have them. Where in Florida State's realm, I think Big Ten would love to have them, and I think SEC would be like, we'll take them if we have to.
Yep.
And where Clemson would be, Big Ten would be like, I guess we could take Clemson, and SEC is kind of like, yeah, I think we could take Clemson.
Yeah.
Right. That's the way in my brain it kind of works out. But I think North Carolina, 50-50, both conferences would love to have them, and rightly so. I mean, they are a great institution.
Yep.
It's a new, and I don't want to say footprint in terms of geography, because I want to get away from the thought that this is all about geographically, television sets. That's not what I mean. I mean from a footprint, from viewership standpoint, regardless of where the people's TV actually is, right?
Absolutely.
But if you look at this, the last sentence, and I think that now is the time to be very open to pursuing all options, including those beyond remaining in the Atlantic Coast Conference. You've got two charter members of this conference wanting out because, like it says, it's not doing what's in the best interest of the membership.
Absolutely, Vince. The last question I have around, I guess, all the happenings going into tomorrow is, and I think this, and I want to see if you agree. Clemson's filing right before the hearing tomorrow is intentional. Yes.
I think it's intentional because it's intentional in two ways, I think. The first thing is they're not going to file until they had some kind of back channel assurances that they had a spot to go to. And we had just stated that, right? And I believe that happened after all of the nonsense about the pageant being decided on who was getting what percentages and all that other stuff,
Yeah.
right? The writing's on the wall at that point that the Power Two are going to control this whole thing. And there's no way, because there's not enough valuable properties out there for the ACC to level up. It's just, it can't happen. So at that point, once that handwriting is on the wall, Clemson finds out that they have a spot and they're like, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
As luck would have it, the additional benefit of that is let's also throw the defendant into a frenzy when they're already preparing for a battle on this front.
Yep.
Now they have to prepare for a battle on multiple fronts. I'm pretty sure the ACC conference leadership has had to put out a one ad for part-time workers to work on this legal case.
Sure.
Legal cases.
Yep. Yeah, and Vince, you will never be able to convince me that anything other than North Carolina announcing that they file a lawsuit will be, more definitive than that if that happens, right? That's the nail in the coffin. But what you're seeing right now is these teams seeing the writing on the wall and wanting to jump in, right? Now, Vince, why haven't we seen all these articles about how terrible Clemson is as an organization for trying to kill college football? It's crazy,
Well, and if you follow all of that, it's not just about that. It's like we're seeing things like, because Clemson did it in a classier way. Did you see those tweets?
Yeah, classy lawsuit, right?
A classy lawsuit. I'm always a big fan of a classy lawsuit. And again, we're talking about social media and we're talking about people that are rabid fans of other schools and whatever, that don't maybe understand the fact that Florida State had to do this thing publicly. There are laws that require it in Florida. It has to be public. It has to be public. So if you have some friends of yours or people you follow on social media that don't understand all of that kind of stuff, and they're just typing, their thumbs are going crazy because they're emotionally hurt, point them to our show. We can clean that up. It's like therapy here, people. There are reasons why Florida State had to do it the way they did it. And I'm proud of the way they did it and the way they continue to do it. And I tweeted something, about Clemson, welcome to the party. The party is growing.
It sure is. Yeah.
And UNC, they've got the RSVP in their hand right now.
Yeah.
The question is whether they're going to submit that RSVP anytime soon. I think they are. I think they are.
No, for sure. They definitely are. And listen, before we get into, I think we're about to switch into some spring football chat. I just want to remind everyone of something that Garnet and Old and only Garnet and Old is doing for the people of Garnet and Old. If we reach the 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, which right now we're only 150 away, if we reach that 1,000 goal before the release of EA
Ryan's
Sports,
gonna hit an air horn.
Yeah.
No,
I don't have an air horn. We're not that morning show. We don't hit air horns here. If we hit the 1,000 subscriber mark before EA Sports College Football 25 video game comes out this summer, we will be, and by we I mean I out of my own pocket, will be giving away live on air on the Garnet and Old show a copy of either PlayStation or Xbox, whatever you have, whoever wins, a copy free of EA Sports College Football. And
hold on, there's more.
There's more. This is the showcase showdown part of it.
This crazy Ryan, his prices are insane.
Listen, I live in a dream world, Vince. Nothing's real in this world. If we made it by some chance, and hey, crazier things have happened, to 2,000 subscribers by the release date of College Football 25, I will be giving away a combination of not only the game, Vince, but either an Xbox Series S or PlayStation 5, your choice, viewer out there, as a bundle together if we reach 2,000 subscribers. So if you have not already shared with your friends, because listen, let's be frank, the game is already, that's probably going to happen based on our trajectory.
Right.
But if you're a dreamer like I am, if you want to dream the dream with me and you want to share it with your friends, and you're like, I don't got a PlayStation or I don't got an Xbox, and I'm not going for the Series S or the PlayStation Slim. I'm talking full PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X with
not the digital edition.
Free shipping from me.
Oh.
Yeah, because if shipping, I wouldn't make the shipping $399. Free shipping if we get to 2,000 subscribers. So hit that like and subscribe button, share it with people, everyone you know, and let's give away a console and a free game, Vince. Let's do it.
Before we move on to spring practice, and Ryan, you are the man for doing that. We need to have an image of you like on the side of a lake, looking at a beautiful sunrise, dreaming a dream, and there's like a college football 25 thing. Yeah, we need to come up with that image. So if any of you are good at that, ChatGPT could probably do it.
And I do want to bring this up real quick, Vince. Look at this. Kirk David Tony writes, is Garnet and Old going to the Garnet and Gold game?
Of course.
And we are going to be setting up, I think we have agreed, Lot 6 setting up the tent.
Correct.
Or somewhere in the vicinity of Lot 6 based on wherever is available. We will tweet it out on our in either Big Poppy's VC Knoll on Twitter. We will tweet out our location with a picture of like the surrounding area. Come by and visit. We will be doing a live pregame show and postgame show for the spring game. So come by and visit us. Great question.
Kirk David Tony is old like me, and he refers to it as the Garnet and Gold game, which is no longer called that.
Doug brought up a great point. Doug, throw in some one-on-one gameplay. For free, I'll throw in a one-on-one matchup live streamed on this channel.
Let's do it.
Against
this is
the winner.
fantastic. This is fantastic. I love it.
What's next, Vince?
I was going to But before we move on to the spring stuff, I want to have one more comment about our brethren down south, with the comment that was made by the AD. Do not read anything into that comment as if Miami is not doing something in the background.
Yeah,
Okay,
they are.
They have to. If they're not, they should all be fired. All of them.
Yeah, let's be clear. Every team that didn't vote for Florida for the things that the ACC pushed in the last 3 or 4 months, any team that didn't vote yes on that is pursuing or looking into legal action.
The problem is for Miami, they don't yet have a assured landing spot.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do, they will be RSVPing as well.
Sure, agreed.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
What do we got next, Vince?
We talk about some spring practice thoughts.
I'm gonna say one word, Vince. I'm gonna sum it up.
Do it.
Beefy. We
Beefy.
got some big ass people, Vince.
Bigger.
I mean, I'm talking based on what I saw. I imagine I put myself in Mike Norvell's first spring practice, right, and even second spring practice, and you see the pictures, and you were like, ooh, that ain't gonna get it done. Now you watch it, and you're like, oh, that looks like when people post pictures of like Alabama and Georgia in their spring practice, and I'm saying okay, and the reason is because we have a whole lot of Alabama and Georgia on the team.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Wow, Vince, that's what I can say. The body transformation, body by storms, is the number one takeaway I have so far because there's not a lot of takeaways yet from spring practice. Wow.
Yeah, those are the takeaways. If you are paying attention and you're really following the team, you can tell when someone has put in the work, and this team puts in the work. So people are getting bigger, and they're getting bigger in the right ways. I've also seen some clips of some really, really fluid, fast receivers.
Yeah. And Grillmaster writes in, Vince, on that note, on a scale of 1 to big, how big are we talking? Look, I'm going to put it in a different word. The word thick, but I'm going to say
oh
thick.
gosh, don't do that.
Thick.
Do that.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to get that image out of your mind, people.
Thick. Screen capture this.
Don't do it. You have to go back and redo it.
My man.
But yeah, they are. We keep rehashing the same thing. If you do want to really get tuned in with the specifics of how many more pounds someone has gained or what people are compared to last year, like there are plenty of sites out there where you can get all that. And Ryan and I follow them all, of course. We're just kind of give you an overview of it, that everything that we've heard and seen is positive. DJ looks good. Chrome and Hawk apparently looks really good.
Sure does.
Again, it's his first spring practice. People can't be, anointing him QB1. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. Because it's more than just looking good in a spring practice.
Yeah.
But there's no bad news.
Yeah.
Whatever climb we've been on is continuing.
Sure.
And if you follow James Coleman, and you should, because not only is he funny, he's really funny, but he's very honest and straightforward, and he has some better, some real insight because he's a former player.
Yep.
He tweeted something today about Norvell doesn't care how long you've been here. Something, I'm paraphrasing. Norvell doesn't care how long you've been here.
Yep.
You're going to catch it.
Yeah.
If you are, not following the protocol.
Yeah, and again, I want to reiterate what Vince said about Luke. People talking QB1. If that was the case and we based spring practice on QB1, then Bailey Hockman would have been a Heisman contender a few years back. Okay, so keep that in mind. Name. The Hockman Hive, Vince. Were you part?
No, I was not part of that.
The Hockman Hive. Oh man, those days.
All right, you want to move on to Diamond?
Real quick.
Okay, go back to spring. Oh, sorry.
We will continue to have more information on spring practice next Thursday, because listen, not that much is really, we don't have that much big picture stuff yet, other than, oh my God, big and fast.
Yeah.
It's like we saw Andre the Giant. No, it's more like we saw Dwayne the Rock Johnson come out to the stage, right? It's like, yeah, that looks good, but we haven't seen him wrestle yet. That's what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So moving on to Diamond. Baseball team kicking
Yes.
butt, taking names.
Yeah.
They swept Notre Dame last weekend,
Hmm.
and then they beat Stetson in a midweek game. And so here's the interesting thing about this is that, the first, 14, 15 games or so, you could argue that the competition wasn't that great. That's fine. You're probably right. Or wasn't maybe what they're going to be playing next. But they hammered those teams. They hammered those teams. Now they've played a couple more difficult teams, and they've still won. They're not. I mean, maybe like they beat Stetson 1-0. I think. That's not what they're used to doing. They're used to batting the ball around. But look at this now. They've been able to win games by obliterating people, and they've been able to win games with pitching and defense. That doesn't mean that this team is going to go undefeated. If you're not if you don't follow baseball, that doesn't happen, right? Teams will lose games, and it depends on a lot on as far as especially when these games get closer. Do the bats go to sleep? Do the arms hold up? But they have a big series this weekend against Clemson.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great. They may just all meet at the Diamond and kind of smack hands and say, way to go, brother. Thanks for joining us at the party.
Yeah.
But by the way, tomorrow's game against Clemson has been moved to Saturday. So there'll be a Saturday doubleheader. They moved the game on Friday because they're expecting some bad weather.
Yeah,
so
in Florida, tomorrow is pretty much a washout all day in Florida as a whole.
Yeah. So over the weekend, there'll be a doubleheader on Saturday, and then on Sunday, obviously, there'll be a game on Sunday as well. So the team's really 19. The team is 19-0. Haven't lost a game yet. Beat the Gators pretty bad a few weeks ago. They're currently ranked in one poll like number 12.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. See how good they really are.
Yeah, and don't focus on the undefeated record. What I want this weekend, what I want people to focus on is winning the series. So winning 2 out of the 3 in college baseball. For those of you who are maybe more of a college football fan or more of a college basketball fan, really the way the pollsters view baseball teams is much different, right? So you can lose a game. You can lose a game in a series all the time. It happens every single week across the country. But if you lose a game in a series, really. It's not a big deal. It's really about winning 2 out of 3 on any given weekend, and that kind of counts overall as a W. It's almost like if you were to like an org chart, and they would have the 3 connectors, but at the top would be a W. WLW equals W.
That's, equals L.
That math
equals
is mathing
W,
to me.
That math is mathing. The math ain't mathing for the softball team right now. They need to figure out the pitching. And I think they will. So very young. It's a young team.
Yeah.
And I would say, if you're going to ask me my opinion on them, they are not elite, but they are above average.
Sure.
It might even be good, but they are not elite, at least not yet.
Hey, Vince, I have a question for you. And this is, we haven't talked about this. So you always love these. Speaking of mathin', does our friend of the show, do they do analytics for baseball too?
Great question. We'll have to reach out and find out.
Yeah, if so, we might have a guest on here pretty soon because that would be awesome to do some. Is that math in for baseball? As far as like in baseball, in my opinion, there's a lot more like fake stats that you can mold to whatever you want. Kind of positive or negative that you're trying to tell a story. But in reality, there's certain ones that are really important for success rate. So maybe if we find that out, we can have a friend of the show on and talk some analytics.
You don't have to be so cryptic. It's Parker.
Yeah, I don't want to sell the boy out and call, say he's going to be on, and then they don't cover.
No, as a matter of fact, Parker texted me the other day about Clemson joining the lawsuit. Like not more than 8 minutes after I saw it. Like he sent it to me right away.
Parker's great.
Yeah. So we'll have to find out about that. Let's talk what they call it, the round ball. Little round ball action.
Uh,
Women's basketball team in Austin. They flew out on Wednesday, and the pep band flew as well. They all flew. I think they flew together, and they flew out to Austin. And they play tomorrow night's the first game. They play at 5:30 p.m. against Alabama. It's an 8-9 seed matchup, and looking forward to that. And for many reasons, I hope the team wins. Of course, because we want the team to win, but also because my daughter is in Austin with the band and enjoying, the time of her life, getting to do what, what's the word I'm looking for? Promoters of the university should do, right? They get to travel, which is awesome.
Vince, and Jules, I do want to say go Lady Noles. Absolutely. Absolutely. We support the Lady Noles. We support all of FSU athletics. And that's why we're so happy to be a part of, all this fan base. And by the way, if you gave during the Great Give towards the Marching Chiefs, they sent out an email today where your employer might match such contributions. And they gave a little link that you can check to see if your employer takes part. So it's always a good thing to see if they can, give a little bit more if you can get your employer to match. I thought that email was pretty interesting. So my company's too small for something like that, but many of you, I'm sure, work for big time companies that likely would be on the list for charitable contributions. So, and don't forget to claim it on your taxes. Tax season is here
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to give the man any more than the man needs to get.
That's true, but Vince, I'm more excited by day by day for the spring game, Vince. But I do want to say I'm a little disappointed in you. You're the prototypical planner, Vince. And I text you today, do you have a hotel yet? And you said haven't decided, or no, not yet. Vince, we're
Not yet.
less than a month away. What are we doing, sir? I got
know.
a Verbo, Vince, walking distance from Joe Campbell. That's what I did because I'm a true Seminole.
Walking
That's
distance. Verbo?
Yeah.
Was it a cardboard box?
No, it's a beautiful, beautiful condo right in College Town on one of those 2-story buildings there.
Oh, wow. Look how fancy you are. Yeah, I need to get on that. You're right. I'm typically the planner to get this stuff all planned out, but I haven't done that yet. But I will have that done. Ryan, let's take some time here and go through some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a ton going back all the way before Doug left. So I do want to
Let's recap. Doug was here. Doug was here at the beginning of the show.
Yeah,
we had to get him in and get
it.
him out because he had some stuff to do. So if you missed that, go back and watch it. And some things that came out of that. So this is a perfect time to remind people. Doug is going to be at the hearing tomorrow, or at the courtroom tomorrow in Charlotte. And he's going to be live tweeting, hopefully, if the judge allows electronic devices. He's going to be live tweeting things that are going on in the courtroom. And he also, once that's all said and done, Doug's going to get on the road to head back to Atlanta. And when he gets in his car, we're going to have a live Garnet and Old with Doug live from his car. And we're going to hash out what happened in the courtroom. I'm so looking forward to that. And hopefully you all will join us for that. It will be tough to do questions at that thing and be more of a just listen in. And also, I guess we should say this too, Ryan. Doug is going to be joining us as a weekly contributor on every show. Every week he's going to be on the show and doing the legal stuff for us. Doug Rohan joining the family.
At Doug Rohan PC on X.
Yeah, at Rohan Law PC.
Going to some of these other questions. The Florida State baseball team is finally ranked at number 12, still undefeated after being Stetson. Yes, we love it. We love it. We love to see our baseball team, basically, whooping some tail out there. It's awesome.
Some may ask the question, what is the best starting record that Florida State has ever had? And I believe it's 23-0.
One more Kirk David Tony, we'll get to others. Is Florida State quarterback position open, or has it been decided that DJU is the starting quarterback? What are your thoughts, Vince?
My thoughts are Mike Norvell is going to play the player that gives the team the best chance to win every week. Doesn't matter how long you've been here.
Grillmeister, in reference to the spring game, Vince, the spring practice and how big our players are, is remembering how big the 2015 team was, and they were beefy. They had some holes on that team, but they were pretty beefy. What do you think in comparisons, Vince?
It's tough. I don't know. My brain can compare that. I have to go look at the 2015 roster and look at this one. I don't have that kind of photographic memory. But I will say this: I believe wholeheartedly that this team this year is going to be when I say going to be, it's going to be a more complete team than last year's team.
Yes.
Does that mean they're going to win every game? No, that doesn't mean that at all.
It can,
but it can mean that. But I think what you're seeing is the depth growing.
Yeah, which is what
the depth of the team is growing. Yeah.
Kirk David Tony, Florida State women's basketball team has made the NCAA tournament 11 straight years. Yeah, you can't beat that.
Sue Semrau to Brooke Wyckoff. Man, they're a fun team to follow. Super proud of them.
And friends call me Sean in reference to Doug being a regular guest on our show every single week and contributor of Garnet and Old, coming up every Thursday at 7:00, says that's awesome news. All right, Doug. Yeah, we agree. Yeah. We love Doug. He's awesome. And then finally, Vince, the last thing of the night, Grillmaster said it was from standing next to them. He vividly remembers standing next to the 2015 because the lineman, it's crazy. And Vince, by the way, I was on even in
lineman in Hobbit Hoagie or Hobbit American Grill. Sorry.
Yes, Hobbit Hoagies. I love it. Yeah. Even in 2016, I was on the field for a game because a certain long snapper from the 2013 national championship team personally invited me to be on the field.
Look at you.
And I was on the field, and even that 2016 team, they were still, it was getting a little tinier, like on the offensive line, but overall, there was still a lot of talent there, some unutilized potential for sure on that team.
Yeah. Again, I look at that team as, I think everyone remembers 13, right? And I remember 14 because it's a lot of a holdover of that. And then 15 is where it all start getting murky for me.
15 was kind of fun still.
Yeah, I know it was, but it's still, in my brain, it's kind of murky.
And then 16, the second DeAndre is our quarterback, you're like, yeah, that's a toughie.
It's rough times, man. It's rough times.
One last question, Vince, fitted in by our own Kirk David Tony, one of our best. I remember back in the spring of 2013, wondering how Florida State was going to place EJ. I'm right there with you, by the way, Kirk. After he got drafted, it wasn't, sure how Jameis Winston was going to pan out. Same thing until I saw the legendary video of Jameis Winston throwing a football over an entire building. That kind of sold me. And then, Vince, for those of you who haven't seen it, Jameis Winston signed with the Browns.
Yes, saw it.
He showed up to the
We some dogs. We ain't no puppies.
He showed up though, Vince, today. If you look on his feed, it looked like a suit and a long jacket, and he was taking snaps in the gym.
Right.
Which, by the way, what I love about this whole situation, guys, at this point, Jameis knows that people think he's a funny dude and his workouts are ridiculous and his antics are ridiculous, and he plays into it. Look no further than when he said when he was signing his contract to be a Brown, and he was holding up the E to W.
Right.
Okay, and then
he knows what he's doing.
At this point, it's a shtick, guys. Maybe at one point it was him putting out some videos, and people thought it was a little ridiculous. But at this point, he knows what the people want. They want off-season Jameis workouts.
They do.
So get ready, because you're going to see Jameis probably doing some outrageous things with his dogs chasing him or some wild stuff.
I had to put this up here. Bazoo, thank you, by the way, Bazoo, for watching the show.
Yeah,
as an Auburn fan. And by the way, I have family members that are Auburn grads. So I get it. And really close friends that are as well. 13 sucked. A good part of that game sucked, let me tell you. But then it didn't suck. But I get it. I mean, I get it. I've been involved in games where you think you have it and then you don't. So I understand.
Yeah. See us in the 2000 national championship.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's about it. It's just I love off-season Jameis. I look forward to it every year. In fact, we don't text one of our old mutual friends anymore, but I used to love to send him the antics, and he took it way too seriously. But yeah, Jameis is fantastic. But hey, we always end our show with our chant: "Screw ESPN eternally." We're only Vince. We're only a few months away from College Game Day in Ireland.
Correct. I've got a plan for that. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I got a plan for that, and Doug has a plan for that in terms of a certain ESPN personality. So that's going to be fun when that happens. And also, as always, and again, where our heart is. Send Chiefs all the damn time, and like the pep band got to go to Austin. That's amazing, and with a great give. If you did that, we heartily thank you for that. Reminder tomorrow. Follow at Rohan Law PC on Twitter, on X, so you can catch some live tweeting from him from the courtroom in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County.
And then catch him on the Garnet and Old show.
And then catch him on the Garnet and Old show after the proceedings are done. We're going to go live with Doug as he's traversing back to Atlanta.
Sometime mid-afternoon or
early, 12:30th, yeah.
Depending on when he can get cellular coverage and in the car and everything. But guys, it's been fun. You guys are the best fan base. But honestly, me and Vince look forward to every week because it's so much more fun to interact with you guys in the chat and to have a conversation with Doug. Man, you really make our days every week. Vince and I look forward to this. So thank you so much for liking. Please subscribe, share with your friends. And as always, we have no inside info, no contacts, and no problem. Vince,
go Noles, everybody.
Go Noles and send the Chiefs all the damn time. Be well, everyone. See ya.